Hey everybody, welcome back to my Bake Like a Pro YouTube channel. To start off my recipe, I have a heat-proof glass bowl, just over a little bit of simmering water. So the water is going to provide heat and it's going to start melting all of our ingredients in our bowl. So I'm going to get in all of our butter and then all of our chocolate, our white granulated sugar, and then our coffee. And the coffee, it doesn't matter if it's room temperature or hot. If it's hot, it's going to help melt everything a little quicker, but this is going to go very quickly as it is. You don't need to have your water boiling in the pot, just a simmer, and that's just going to slowly start melting all of our ingredients. So this is a couple minutes later. I'm just going to get my whisk in here, and you can see that everything is melted now. And I'm just going to stir it. I'm going to get this off the heat. I'm going to let it cool for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to add in all of the rest of our stuff and we'll finish up the recipe. So this here has cooled down. Now I'm going to add in my milk, and that's going to drop the temperature of this even further. You can already see that it has just by how the chocolate reacts with it. We'll mix that around, and then I'm going to get my egg in there. So if you're in fear that your bowl is too hot, do not add your stuff right away. You can wait 10 or 15 minutes until you feel comfortable that the batter is actually just warm and not hot, because you don't want to start scrambling your egg in the mixture. And get that all mixed. And then my little bit of vegetable oil. And I want to get all of this really well incorporated before we sift in our last ingredients. So I always like to sift, so I'm going to get my all-purpose flour, cocoa powder, baking powder, and baking soda. And then let's just get all of that in there. Grab the back of a spoon and then just push all of that through. I'm going to grab my whisk one last time and just give this a little bit of a stir. And if you don't have a whisk and you have an electric mixer, you can use that as well. And I do have my oven set to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. It is a lower oven than you usually bake a cake at, but since this is a mud cake, I don't want it drying out. That 350, that extra 50 degrees will dry out the cake before it's actually baked in the middle. So you want a lower, more gentle heat. So that's good, just make sure everything's mixed. And now we are ready to fill our tin. For today's video, I have decided to use a 5-inch diameter by 2-inch high baking tin. And I am using a little bit of parchment paper on the sides because this cake does tend to rise up while it's baking. If you don't want to go this way, you could go with a baking tin like this. This one here is 6 inches in diameter by 3 inches high, and then you won't have to use the collar like I'm using here. But I do want my cake a little bit smaller and I want it a little bit higher, so that's the one I've opted for today. So we're going to get all of the batter right into here. And I do have a piece of parchment paper on the bottom as well, and that's just going to enable us to bring that cake very quickly and nicely right out of this tin. This smells amazing. I am using a spatula. I want to make sure that I get everything out of our bowl. And that's good. And I'm going to get this onto a little pizza tray. And now I'm going to pop this into my 300 degree Fahrenheit oven. I'm going to bake it off and I'm going to tell you exactly how long I baked it when I get back. Hey everybody, we are exactly 1 hour into the bake time right now, and I just wanted to show you how much the cake has risen. If I had not used the paper collar, you could see that the cake would have overflowed onto the tray. So that's why it's important to use the paper like I'm using today, or use a very tall tin. Now when I bring this out of the oven, it's going to deflate again but this cake really likes to rise up in the oven, so be very, very aware of that. So here we go, right out of the oven. I baked my cake for exactly 1 hour and 10 minutes at 300 degrees Fahrenheit. At this point, this is very hot, so I'm going to let this cool down a little bit, and then I'm going to unmold it. So this is about 20 minutes later. The cake is extremely hot still, but I do want to get it out of here. So I just want to make sure that no cake came out. I think we're good. I'm just going to flip it over. It should come out. And there we go. I'm just going to put it on here. You can see the parchment paper on the bottom. I'll take that off right now, actually. So you just peel it off. It's extremely warm still. And then the little paper collar, you just lift that right off. And there we have it. And that cake looks amazing. I just wanted to show you before we finish it off. It's still extremely warm right now, so we have to let it cool. But, ooh, you can see how nice this cake is. Hopefully the camera's picking up how nice this cake is. This is going to be the most fudgiest cake that you've ever tasted. If you've tried my large recipe, you know what I'm talking about. So this is the mini version that we're working on today. What I have here is a dark chocolate butter ganache. And I'm just going to get that on in the middle, just a little bit. In my original video I didn't put any, but I think I will on this one. And just get that around. And then we'll get our top piece on. And I'm not worried about how much I'm putting on. I'm just going to let it drip all the way over the sides. I can reuse this. And just give it a little push, back and forth. I think that looks pretty good. Just give it a little spin here. As I was saying, this is a very, very rich cake. So we have our mini chocolate mud cake and then a very rich dark chocolate butter ganache on the top. Ooh. I can feel how moist this cake is as my knife is going through it. I'll just get in here with a little spatula, make sure we've got a nice break, and then I'll lift this out on camera so you can see this. Wow. This cake is very, very dark. I have my studio lights really bright. You can see from the plate here, and it still looks dark. And there we have it. Of course, we're gonna have to zoom in and turn this around. Oh, that looks amazing. Now that I've zoomed in, hopefully you can see how nice this cake is. Super, super dark, and that's because of the mixture of the dark chocolate that we used and also that cocoa. But anyway, you can see that. So we've got our mud cake, and then we have our dark chocolate butter ganache in the middle, and then the mud cake on top, and then of course our dark chocolate butter ganache all around the top. An amazing cake. I really hope you try this out. So now let's go over to the actual cake itself. So I'm just going to give this a little bit of a turn so you can see how nice this cake is. Which way am I going to go here? Like this. And you really do have to try this cake out. I'm going to grab my fork and let's make sure I'm on camera. I'll give you a good view here. And look at this. So this is basically a fudge brownie in a cake. And that is amazing. That is really, really good. You get that nice soft texture of the butter ganache on the top. Very, very soft, really nice. and then that brownie texture in the middle. I can't say enough about this chocolate mud cake. I really do hope that you try it out. So that's it for today's really fast video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you wish. If you're on Facebook, you can check me out at facebook.com/BakeLikeAPro. Try this out, you're going to love it. That is so good. And please subscribe to my Bake Like a Pro YouTube channel and also click that notification bell to be alerted every time I upload a brand new video.